People give me too much shit about it. Oh, Pantera. Yeah.
Vladimir.
Pantera is not to be discussed. That's a off-limits topic.
We'll have to get you on the show to talk Pantera. Mike's an interesting guy because he was an ex-racing car driver. He had a Pantera. I don't know why he's got some really primitive equipment. I want to get Mike the Snake on to talk cars. Let's just see if we can hear him. Oh, it's terrible static, Mike.
I sent you an email, Archie.
Day and night I get these emails.
This is the guy who had the Pantera. Mike the Snake. Mike the Snake. Mike the Snake. You had a Pantera, didn't you?
What is that?
Oh, I did, yes.
He used to race
I love your race car.
Pantera.
You had a Pantera, Mike?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Sent you a bunch of pictures of my Pantera.
Had a De Tomaso Pantera. De Tomaso.
De Tomaso.
De Tomaso. De Tomaso. De Tomaso. De Tomaso. Pantera. 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 Pantera.
Pantera.
Fuck, I love them.
Yeah.
Did you like Panteras?
My favorite car is a Pantera.
Amazing cars. Pantera.
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 My Pantera?
Yes.
That looks like my old white Pantera right there. It's an Italian supercar.
Fucking Italian car. Mid-engine Ford V8. Low center of gravity.
It had 650 horsepower. Ford.
V8 engine. In an Italian supercar.
The same transaxle, famous ZF gearbox. Same exact transmission. It's a beautiful car. They're awesome. In 1972,
I love the Pantera.
What's a Pantera? A guitar? A watch?
they were the fastest car in the world that I know of.
I am chuffed to bits to do this stream, guys. Okay, ciao. This is the Horology Dungeon. I am the narrative. Let's get into it, folks. We've got an epic day of live streaming. We've got some drama, some OG drama. You guys know I'm an OG, and I love that OG drama. And I know a lot of folks are new to the Archieverse. I'm going to give you all a bit of a history lesson, bit of that drama so you guys catch up if Archie actually responds tonight, which I'm not sure about. But let's start off by welcoming everybody in the chat. I did start a little earlier than my scheduled time, which I think I put it for like 5:35 Eastern. But look, I think Archie is going to go on in about an hour and a little bit. So I figured, hey, why don't we give you guys a bit of an appetizer dungeon before Archie goes. I have the show link, so feel free to hang out with me and anybody else who joins me on the panel. But let's say hello to our good friends in the chat. Billy Jeans is first today, a solid supporter of the Archieverse. We've got my boy Tiktology Drake himself is in the chat. We got BC telling us, as always, it's pure shit. We got Arcure Ski who says signed in, not going to get any work done. Yeah, man. It's after 5 here, so we are about to have some fun. We got Speedmaster and Darth Nagus in the chat. Welcome, guys. Welcome. So I'm going to be covering drama between Archie Luxury and the Urban Gentry. So for those that don't know, when I say TGV, who am I talking about? We're talking about the Urban Gentry. As you can see here on the screen, massive channel in the Watch YouTube space, has almost 600,000 subs. And, for those that are used to us fighting with 10,000 sub channels, right? Like, understand, Archie's real, nemesis was definitely much larger than the Coney Island Fredo that we're thinking, right? Like, Archie definitely had a long-standing and still has a long-standing beef with the urban gentry TGV, who is arguably one of the biggest YouTubers in the watch space. I mean, Nico Leonard's obviously bigger than him now, but for a long time, TGV was the biggest, I would say the biggest, watch YouTuber in the world. For those that don't know, he actually, was bought out, or, I don't really understand how it worked, because I don't think you can actually buy a channel on YouTube, but essentially I believe he was hired by the Watchbox, as an employee. And, obviously part of that agreement was that the Urban Gentry Watch channel, was at the time had like a little powered by Watchbox at the bottom and whatnot. So, like the Urban Gentry had done a deal with Watchbox to actually, become part of the team. Because if you think about Watchbox, right, like the Govbergs, they're on this mission to obviously, expand their business and their presence. And I would honestly say, I mean, Watchbox is one of the biggest powerhouses on Watch YouTube. Whether from a marketing standpoint or even from a content standpoint. Obviously, Tim Mosso and many others, on that show that, have made the Watchbox studios very strong. So at a point in time a few years ago, they had actually, and I'm not going to use the word acquired the Urban Gentry, because I don't think that actually happened, because obviously you can see here TGV still owns the channel. But I think that, he had joined him as an employee. All right, we got a comment here from John D, who says, "Stop the nonsense. TGV is one of the best channels and brought hundreds of thousands into the hobby. Don't cast shade." Yeah, I don't think I'm casting shade, John. You can replay the stream and see what I say about casting shade, but I think that's a presumptuous statement, John, because I haven't said anything about that. But no, John, I'm more than happy to have that argument with you, because I will cast shade. TGV knows fuck all about watches and is a shit live stream content creator. And, you can't tell me otherwise, John D, because I was there during that era. I was very prominently there during that era. But all right. So getting back to who TGV is, because a lot of people don't know who this guy is. So, again, one of the biggest YouTube watch channels in the world. And, he started off, like many do, like the Coney Island Fredo, and many others, as a punter in the Archieverse, as a fan of Archie Luxury. TGV was a big Archie Luxury fan. We're going to kind of see some videos, in the history of the Archie Luxury channel, where TGV, he's done videos like simping Archie, like talking about how great of a YouTuber Archie is and how much knowledge he has. And, he looks up to him and all this shit, right? Like, he pulled the same move that, others that you guys see in the present time have pulled, befriending Archie, using him to, springboard their channels, and then splintering off and having a beef. Well, TGV was the first, by the way, to do this to Archie. And, I think it's hurt him the most. And guys, this was from an era pre-live streams, right? So when you kind of think of the donor element of things, like Archie, like today, these days and age, Archie's like pissed off about stealing donors. Well, back then there was no donors. There were no live streams. It was pure like ad revenue, essentially, is what it was. It was ad revenue. And so, if your channel, had enough traffic, then you'd be making the money from the ad revenue. And if somebody else's channel was stealing that ad revenue, stealing the viewers, then it would be a contentious point. Now, looking at, kind of why is it like, obviously this is historical. Like, why are we talking about it today? Well, TGV's released a video yesterday called "A Decade on YouTube and Time to Call It Quits?" ? The end of an urban gentry era, right? So, I don't think this is TGV stating that he's retiring from YouTube. I think TGV is trying to go through another rebrand. So this is why I'm bringing up the Watchbox history, because, Watchbox hires him as an employee. And I'm actually going to play a video of Archie responding to TGV's first appearance on the Watchbox with Tim Mosso. Everybody knows that incident. The term "jingly jangly bracelet" came from that interview, because that's how TGV described the bracelet on the GMT Pepsi that he bought from Federico, and he referred to it as a "jingly jangly bracelet." But essentially, TGV, was an Archie fan, splintered from Archie, built a massive channel. Like, you can see why John D's a little triggered right now, because obviously, he's probably a TGV fan. And look, there's a lot of new people that are also TGV fans, that like him for his entry level pieces and whatnot. Look, no shade on the content he's creating on that side, but what I'm saying is that, like, number one, in terms of luxury watches, the guy knows fuck all. The guy is terrible at fucking live stream content. And that "jingly jangly bracelet" interview, like, it's on Watchbox. Like, y'all can go see it. You know, you can see how nervous he is live on air. Like he's not a live stream content creator. And this is kind of the story I'm trying to tell here is, you know, TGV is now made this whole thing a decade on YouTube, time to call it quits. Well, yeah, honestly, like TGV still goes by the old model, the views model. And honestly, like, you know, it's not like his channel gets like, you know, millions of views all the time, right? Like you got 60K, 50K, you know, 50K, 80K. Like these aren't like millions of views, you know, especially for a channel that has 500,000 subs, right? Like he's not making serious cash, you know, from the ad revenue, I would say, you know, but compare it to Archie, right? These guys have been in a war for like years, you know, and Archie kind of gave up on the whole like ad revenue fight. And that's why you don't hear about Archie necessarily as angry with TGV these days, because honestly, it doesn't really impact him anymore in that sense. Like it's a different type of viewer. Honestly, those, you know, low end watch, you know, the kind of lower tier of watches, like those people that are new into the hobby or like those watches, don't always go to Archie's channel. But back in the day, I mean, Archie's channel was all about like, you know, luxury goods, and he was the only one, right? So if you created another channel, you were beefing him. We got my good friend Blondie in the chat who says TGV did a video with him and his watch. Safe to say he's understandably biased. Yeah, absolutely. And Perry TV is saying I'm correct. All right, guys, I want to play you guys, you know, Archie's response to the jingly jangly video for you guys to see kind of what the pontiff was like back then, and you know how interested he was in this drama. So let me share my tab, and I'll kind of do a curly style and do a bit of clips here. So why don't we hear what the pontiff has to say, and then go from there.
Hi guys, Archie Luxury, and today I'd like to talk about Dingly Dangly Jubilee. Dingly Dangly Jubilee guy. Yes. I saw one of the most cringe-worthy interviews of my life. It was a Watchbox interview. And Dingly Dangly Jubilee guy, the rodent, was on the interview. And I gotta tell you, it was very uncomfortable.
I gotta tell you. So, by the way, guys, TGV, the Urban Gentry, Rodent 1.0, all synonymous with the same individual. You know, not to be confused with Rodent 3.0. That's Jin. Archie had many other rodents after TGV, but he was the original rodent. He was 1.0. Bark and Jack was 2.0, and then the Jin Tangler was 3.0. I think I was like Rodent 4 or 5. I don't remember. Me and Jin were called the treacherous snakes back then. The treacherous snakes.
It was very, very uncomfortable. I just wanted to make this video how Jingly Dangly Jubilee guy should behave. And I kind of get the impression watching the video there that our host Tim Musso, who I gotta say, I got a lot of respect for Tim.
Yeah, and look, like in this video, by the way, like Tim, you know, Tim also is hosting TGV. It's like a one-on-one interview. It was the introduction of TGV to the Watchbox platform, and I mean, Neo was in the chat. Hello, humanity. I mean, Neo was there in that chat with me back in those days on that jingly jangly video, and it was just like the Archieverse showed up. Like, you know, there was the Archieverse trolls were all in that fucking chat, you know, and they were very vocal around, you know, telling Watchbox, hey, TGV he's a fraud, he's this, he's that, like, you know, he's not what you say it is, he's not very popular, people don't like it, whatever it was, right? People were saying all kinds of crazy shit back in the day. Actually, Crappy, I was, you know, I made the thumbnail for Archie's live stream, and I was gonna put the lion shark as the squale. I put a different squale up there. I was gonna put the lion shark. I just couldn't find a good photo, and like I figured the lion shark was the one. For those that don't know, TGV did a collaboration with Squale to create his own watch called the Lion Shark. Actually, let me pull it up here. Let me see if I can find it, because my good friend Crappy's in the chat, and you know, I think it's worth bringing up the Lion Shark. So for those that don't know the Lion Shark, let me show you guys here what the Lion Shark looks like. So, you know, you've got this Squale with TGV Lion Shark on it, right? So, I mean, cringe, guys, cringe. The fishy pussy. You know, this fishy pussy was. It was stolen, unfortunately, in the robbery, but yeah, the fishy pussy was a good Archie troll to these kind of watches. Archie actually made a watch, a famous like fucking shitter called the River Rat, and it was like, I think it was related to like TGV. I don't know the whole story. Actually, Bear owns the River Rat, the watch that Archie made himself. It's got like a little penis on it that he drew on, and Archie really like this was like peak times of Archie troll. I mean, Crappy was around back then, Neo was around back then. You know, these guys know Fat Windbag Ben was around back then. I was there, Bear was there. You know, Patrick, AD Never Calling, like all the OGs were there. Even Tommy knows who Grobnob is. Like these are the OGs, people who know from back in the day, kind of like what was going on. So let's get back to Archie, see what he thinks of the Jingly Jangly interview.
Tim's a professional. Tim's a professional. I've often enjoyed his videos. Very knowledgeable guy. Very knowledgeable. I mean, I started off hating Tim Musso. I thought he was a bit over the top, but
yeah, that's funny. He calls him over the top. I mean, we're talking about an era like this is a back in the day, Tim wasn't obviously on Watchbox. He was with another company called Watch You Want. And same format of him doing the videos where he's kind of just has the video, he's got his hands and he's just describing the piece in and of itself. Same style. He's been doing it for years. But it was interesting because TGV, like, I mean, think about it, right? Watchbox, essentially acquires. I don't want to use the term they did an acquisition because they didn't really buy the channel as far as I can see, but they hired TGV under the notion that the Watchbox brand would be associated to the urban gentry. Now, at the time, I mean, TGV was like literally the Nico Leonard of Watch YouTube, right? I mean, Watchbox doesn't just go and offer people like, to buy out their channels like that if they weren't big and whatnot. So, when you see the video, like TGV sits there like simping Tim Mosso. He's like, oh, praise be to thee, oh God of watches. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching that video. I'm like, dude, like you are like Tim Mosso is a small YouTuber compared to you. And it was really just the fact that like, TGV knew nothing about watches and nothing really to fucking say to Tim Mosso. All right, we got some more OGs in the chat. We got Mr. Zoso says, Logan Hall, I know, was definitely there. He said there were 2 river rats. One of them was given to a young kid. I honestly, I don't remember the other river rat, but Bear has the one that was like obviously with the painted cock on it and stuff like that. Also, it's the beef and reef days. Fuck me, Debbie. Look, I'm hoping RGV actually is going to give us a proper response and doesn't give us some apathy tonight. What else? We got Asa who's in the chat who says the days of Archie changing straps. That was gold. Yeah, these are the good old days, guys. So Mr. Sosa says Fed worked for Watchbox as well. Yeah, Fed actually did. Fed was hired by Watchbox. This was at a different time, I believe. I don't remember if Fed was there first, or I believe Fed was actually there first. And then TGV was there. I could be wrong. This was before Fed opened up Delray Watch. He was an employee of Watch. So Federico and TGV actually, so long story here, guys. Federico was trying to get into the Watch YouTube game. He actually befriended Archie, went to Thailand with Archie. Lux met Federico with Archie in Thailand. Lux talked about it on the morning show today. Federico was trying to actually be big. You start to get his YouTube channel going. And then immediately when he went back to the US, he kind of cozied up to TGV and started doing videos with TGV, which I think are long deleted. TGV kind of I think he just erased Fed from his channel or whatever, but they used to do videos. Him, Christian from Theo and Harris and Fed, used to do videos together with TGV. So so I guess after that, Fed ended up working for Watchbox. He shut down his YouTube channel, his personal channel, and then he went to Watchbox, and he was kind of Watchbox's marketing media guy. He was doing the live streams and stuff, kind of what Tim also does. But I think he worked for Tim. I think he reported to Tim also. I could be wrong, but what have you. But yeah, so. Anyways, Watchbox. I mean, they buy. They're not going to fuck around here. This was a serious channel, and so much backlash, from that, because a lot of us, kind of how we, and to bring it into modern terms, kind of like Ocean, right? Like you see Ocean, he looks like a big channel. He's got 100,000 subs, whatever the fuck it is, right? But his metrics don't add up. Like you ever watch his chat, and he's got 1,000, 1,600 viewers. Like there's no fucking way the chat is going slower than Archie's chat goes with 200 viewers, for example, right? Like some shit doesn't add up. When he transfers links over to iBashers, only 50 people go over, shit like that. Like there's a bit of question marks around the metrics, the stats. Archie used to call it cheating back in the day. It was kind of the same with TGV. Archie, for a long time, said TGV was buying views and whatnot, and really felt that there was a bit of fraud. And this was Archie saying this. I'm not, speaking for myself. I'm saying Archie was very much saying it very publicly that TGV was being a fraud. He was buying views, et cetera, to build his channel. And that's when the Watchbox kind of goes out and says, well, this is a channel we want to highlight and make as part of our team. There was a lot of backlash from it's like if it happened to Ocean O'Malley, and then, obviously there'd be backlash because, there's a lot of history there with a lot of folks. So that's to kind of give you the context of what it looks like today. But let's get back to Archie, see what he's saying around Jingly Jangly. And if y'all in the chat want to comment, let me know and I'll pull him up.
after you watch a few of his videos, you realize he ain't reading it off a fucking notebook. No. The guy knows his shit. Okay. And it was interesting interview because Jingly Dangly Jubilee guy kind of uses so many. It's uncool to use so many fucking cliches. It's uncool to use that many cliches. It's just not hip. It's just not cool, man. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. It's just uncool. And it's interesting. He was so suck-assy. He then calls upon, I'd like to thank Marvin from Marvin Comics. I want to thank Marvin for telling me that we are the sum of the five people who are our friends. And what about the other friends you stabbed in the fucking back and never saw them again? Did you?
Does that sound familiar, guys? Coney Island Fredo, yellow-haired grifter. Does that sound familiar, guys? This all happened. It's just history fucking repeating itself, although with a much smaller channel. Like, Archie used to beef with the fucking big dogs, right? Archie is the big dog. You know, like, when I came back and I saw y'all beefing with Tim, I was like, man, like, why y'all beefing with the fucking sidekicks here? Like, there's bigger fish to fry. There's bigger fish to fry, guys, in the sea, and we are frying those fishes today.
Suck out their energy before you fucked off. It's quite interesting because I've got an email when the rodent was kissing my asshole. Yes, he. This is not. You may have thought from.
And again, right? Like, as I pointed out, you know, TGV was a huge Archie fan. Think of the same as Tim, right? Like somebody who wanted to curry favor with Archie with an ulterior motive to create their own channel, splinter, and really, you know, not create success out of nothing like Archie did, you know, but actually use somebody to, you know, to for their own gain, essentially.
From watching that video that the rodent that's the first time he's kissed someone's arsehole. No. He's actually, even though he looks like an amateur, he actually has done this a number of times. This was an email which I've made public to my Patreon supporters. Patreon supporters got a copy.
I don't think I ever got a copy of that, but he ends up sending all this information to like everybody. Patreon for all the Patreon members. Hopefully there's still Patreon members. We love you and we support you.
I'll send him another copy. I asked him question, when did you start collecting watches? This is from Rodent. This was dated September 2013. Only a year or two ago, but I've always loved them. Okay, yep, that's how much experience. He hasn't had that much experience in watches.
This is exactly what I said. Like, you know, TGV rarely does live streams, and I was fortunate enough to catch a couple of them live back in the day. And obviously, y'all know your boy, right? Like the narrative. Like I'm gonna send in a troll super chat, and I trolled him pretty hard back in the day. I may have some like screenshots from back in the day. I don't know. I gotta find them. But look, TGV rarely did live streams because again, he doesn't know a lot about watches. So you know, remember the whole Bobby Google stuff and everything else. Nobody with that big of a channel or, you know, a content creator that makes it their life, you know, the career is creating watch content. Nobody wants to be called out as a noob, right? Because then you're kind of wondering, like, why am I watching this guy if I don't know shit about watches, and this motherfucker doesn't know anything either, right? So TGV always tried to mask that, but Archie and I knew better.
I asked him, are you a fan of the Archie Luxury channel? Of course I fucking am, governor. Archibalds is a legend. I hope he comes to NYC in October so I can meet him and show him my current hometown. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Also a bit of information, right? So TGV was also originally from New York. I don't think he's in New York anymore. I know that he moved and stuff like that. He may be back in New York. I'm not sure. But also was, you know, again, a bit of imagery, a bit of, you know, history repeating itself. Also another individual from New York that potentially fucked over the pontiff.
Yeah. I mean, he couldn't kiss my ass enough. It was, this is the thing, is that when someone is so fake and over the top, they often don't mean it.
Holy fuck, I was on mute. Big Tony says, when's Archie going to collaborate with Nico on his channel? Yeah, it's a great idea. Honestly, Big Tony, I'm kind of done with this whole, like, like it's fun to troll Tim, and like all the Colony boys are having a bit of fun with us on it. Like it is fun, right? But in the grand scheme of things, like Archie collaborating with bigger YouTubers, and even like in this case, beefing bigger YouTubers was a lot more successful for him. And really think, like, for those that missed Narc talking about his origin story, I think it was like last week or the week before, I don't remember. Narc states that he didn't find Archie directly, like I did. Like I was must have been searching for Rolex or something 10 years ago when I found him, right? Like same with Crappy Luxury and Patrick and all the OGs that are around. Like we found Archie in the pre-live stream days. Now, like, Narcus said, look, I found Archie, like, I originally I went to TPG, the Timepiece Gentleman. From there, he found Tim Wright. From Tim Wright, he found JJ. And then from JJ, he found Archie, right? Similar story with Curly. Like, they didn't go and find Archie directly. And so that, if you think about it, at a time when Archie was interacting with TPG, interacting with Paul Thorpe, interacting with Nico, like, that was a different time. And the collabs definitely work for him. So I definitely agree. I definitely want to bring that back because I think that's great. Logan Hall says, I found TGV first, then found Archie. Yeah, so Logan Hall was the opposite. He found TGV first. And this was also at a time, right, when there just wasn't a lot of people on YouTube. You search Rolex, you're going to find Archie Luxury. You searched Seiko's, you may find TGV. Neo says TGV betrayed the M7 by sending info to Archie. So what does he mean by the M7? The M7 stands for a group called the Magnificent Seven. Okay, this was a consortium of watch YouTube channels that were warring with Archie back in the day. And the goal of the M7 and Archie was to create. And again, we're talking about a time when we've got all these small ass channels. So think about like 10 like Marcelo time channels, and then you got Archie, and they wanted to create a super channel. And they all kind of disputed around like how much the profit sharing would be. And obviously Archie, being, the big dog at the time, wanted the majority of the profit, which, hey, look, if that was my business, I'd be saying the same. If I own the market share, like I don't need to split it evenly with everybody else. So the M7, so Suckerhorn actually was part of the M7 going against Archie. Suckerhorn actually warred with Archie for that period of time. So really good point out there. That was definitely way back in the day. But let's continue here with the Watchbox commentary.
And I mean, I would have thought it would have been much more professional if he went on the interview and said, "Oh, hello, Tim. Really pleased to meet you. It's great to work with you," and just be nice, instead of saying, "You're the sum of 5 people you work with, and you're so cool." Yeah, Tim. You can see Tim growling.
As I think that the guy in the chat, Pavel, I think he actually, I think his name comes from that person you're speaking. I don't think it's actually the same guy. I think Pavel, maybe that's his name, Pavel. I don't know, but I think he used the nickname that he has in the chat from this guy. I could be wrong. And I love how Herman is saying, who's TGV? Herman, you were there back in the day. Don't fuck around. Herman knows come on, Neo. Herman was there back then. Herman knows exactly who TGV fucking is.
Growling under that exterior there. He, yeah, you can see the body language. Tim was back as far as possible. The rodent was up close, licking. Yeah, and you could tell the rodent wasn't confident. He had to stomp in with a Rolex. Why didn't you stomp in with that fucking squally abomination? Why didn't you stomp in with the squally?
This is a really good point, right? Because, like, right at the start of the show, John D was, hardcore defending TGV and, all this stuff. But, TGV was known for, what we call in the Archieverse the shitters. But TGV was a big fan of Seiko's. He was a big fan of, like, Squale. Squale is a big one for him. He liked, if you think about people who like to popularize the Seiko SKX, like TGV was a big proponent of the Seiko SKX. So yeah, I mean, like, I agree with Archie. Like, look, if that's your style, if that's your shtick, why are you showing up with a Rolex? Archie should be showing up with a Rolex because Archie was Archie Luxury. He wasn't peddling shitters. He was talking Rolex. We got Big Sal in the chat who says, I found Archie about 12 years ago and just couldn't stop watching. I don't get the shtick at the time. I didn't get the shtick at the time, but man, it was hilarious. You know what, Big Sal? I think that, and it's interesting because there are, people that left Archie to go to other channels, in recent times. And the reason why I always keep the door open is because all of us that are here, we came to Archie for the watches. Well, many of us did at least, and we stayed for the comedy, for the drama. Like this is what I call the three pillars, right? It's not something I fucking made up out of nowhere. It's I really thought about it and I said, why do we watch the Archie Luxury Show? Like, what do we get of value from it, right? It's not hardcore watch talk. It's not super nerdy, high end complication, anglage and perlage bullshit, right? Like that's not what it is, But it is talking about proper watches. Archie's given proper advice. Hey, buy a real man's watch. Don't buy, some garbage and spend your money on garbage. Buy real good shit, But in the way he delivers that message, the comedy, the brashness, the character, like that's what we stayed for. And so that's why I leave the door open for those that have left, because I know that at some point in time, everybody was here, or a lot of people were here, and they all like that, right? So there's a chance that if we can bring some people to see that again, and I can maybe reignite some of that passion that people had for the channel.
That's what I honestly want to know. Dingly jangly Jubilee guy, it's uncool to use so many fucking cliches. Okay, it's like topography. When you're doing desktop publishing, it's uncool to use so many different fonts. Basically, you use one or two fonts. That's it. It's uncool to use 30 fucking fonts in one type of presentation. It's uncool. It's uncool. It was a very cringe-worthy interview. Very cringe-worthy. Very.
All right. As I was saying, I remember the days when Tan was pushing Arch to do daily shows. Now look where he's at. Actually, I can't take credit for the daily live streams. That was actually Clyde who gave Archie that suggestion to do the daily live streams during COVID. But I would, people hear about how I pay Lux on the side for those double happinesses. I used to pay Archie on the side. Like Archie's show was a Friday night, sometime Saturday night show. It was called Friday Night Live with Clive. Okay. Sometimes if I had like an unboxing or, I was bored and I was like, I want to do some watch talk, I used to message Archie and be like, hey man, like, I'll donate $50 if you want to do a live stream. Archie 50 back then, Archie was like $50. Hell yeah. And he'd go on the stream and, I'd donate and we just talk some watches, right? Like, it was pay to play back then as well. Like this, we're talking like 7 years ago, like pay to play all day long.
How's your father? Yeah, I don't know what to fucking say there. I don't know what the fuck the rodent thought. Does he think these other people cannot see through his suck-ass bullshit? What about the other people who've been discarded? Because the thing is with the rodent, it's always about himself. He's only interested in himself.
And I think that this is, I kind of want to highlight this video too, in terms of like its views, right? Oh, didn't even like this video. So there you go, upvote. This had 15,000 views on this video 4 years ago, right? Like this wasn't a, again, Archie, you see him on his live streams getting like 1,000, 2,000 views. He was getting like 15,000, 30,000. Like, he had just like, he was in that model as well. We got a gracious and nice, generous super chat from our friend Big Sal, who is now no Biggie Sal. $5. I couldn't agree with Tan more. I couldn't agree more, Tan. Well said. Arch is the binder that keeps us punters coming back for more. The OG, yeah, Big Sal. Like, honestly, for me, I had my beefs with Archie in the past. And when Archie was at his, when he was at his real lowest, and Bear called me and he's like, man, like, we're on our knees. Like, the show's going to go unless you come back and help us out. Like, it's going to go. And again, this was for years. I kept turning Bear down to come back because I just didn't want to come back. And then I thought about it, and and the robbery happened, and I was like, fuck, like how much fun did I get out of this fucking show for how many years? Like it would be really sad for it to go. And obviously I came back and, fell in love with all the great people that are here now. And that's why I do it these days is, for me, I've been around for a long time. I know a lot of the history. And like I said, today, TGV announced a potential retirement. So, I had to do a stream here. I know TGV is not a current topic for most people or people don't know who he is. But this guy is like, I'm not even saying is Archie's nemesis. Like you guys think it's Tim Wright. Tim Wright's like small potatoes compared to this guy with a fucking 500,000 fucking sub channel.
And obviously, it's all about him. And that's that's one of the problems, is that he's now got to be a team player. It's a very interesting dynamic. I think Tim was quite professional. He was quite gracious and professional in the interview. I think the rodent has got a lot to learn. I think if you're gonna schmooze up to people so much, it's fucking embarrassing. It's just cringeworthy. It's cringeworthy YouTube. It's so fucking cringeworthy. Yeah, just not a cool look. And I got to tell you the truth there. Absolutely got to tell you the truth. I don't think Tim was buying it. Okay. Rodent, I don't think Tim, who I got a lot of respect for.
And again, he's not talking about Tim Wright. He's talking about Tim Masso, who was on the panel with him. And I actually agree with Archie, because if you watch the video, the jingly jangly interview between Tim Masso and TGV, like you could see, like Tim Masso, it's exactly how Archie's describing it. He was licking, TGV was licking Tim Masso's ass, and Tim Masso was like a little uncomfortable with that. Like he was just like, look, I was here to, kind of do an interview, talk some watches. I mean, you're the main guy, right? You're the YouTube guy. Like this is what you do for a living. Like you're a fucking performer. Like how are you not able to come on a panel and actually have a conversation about watches? So yeah, I agree with Archie. Like Tim was like not really feeling the conversation.
Well, I got a lot of respect for Tim. I don't think he was buying it. Okay, Rodent? I don't think he was buying it. So, I mean, I still got the emails where you used to kiss my ass. I still got those. By the way, guys, I'm going to be making these available, $5 US, and you can get it.
I swear to God, if he still has those, I will pay him $5 US for him to read those out on air tonight. If he still has those letters. A
copy of Rodent's email to me. Oh, I'm glad to make those available for $5 US. PayPal $5 US to ArchieLuxury72@gmail.com.
ArchieLuxury72@gmail.com. We got 10 generous dollars from our good friend Neo, who says, if you are a misfit watch lover with a twist of degeneracy, a sense of humor, an ounce of self-respect, with an imagination for the taboo stick around, I think you will like it here. Hashtag AC3 Army. Yeah, man, Neo was a general in that army back in the day. You guys hear about the soy wars with plastic, and I fought with plastic in those, early in the soy wars. He was more like dealing with it later, but I was early in the stages of that. But like Neo and I, Bear Clooney, like we were around back then, and we were very vocal, against TGV, because of like, similar to how like a Curly and a Narc, are vocal against Tim Wright. Like we were those guys back then, helping Archie, making sure Archie was, informed and was able to respond here. And you can see classic Archie in the response video, because I think it's just spot on. And, I've hopefully tonight we're going to see maybe a former glimpse of some of this, on the live stream.
Luxury72@gmail.com, and I will send you copies of the Kiss Ass correspondence. It's very, very interesting. It's very, very interesting. I would seriously say that, look, I think it's not going to last terribly long there. Once they twig the viewership, the ratings, the subs are false, what's going to happen then? That's the big.
All right, so Archie just says something very, very important. So again, as I described, Watchbox hires TGV, the Urban Gentry, to be a part of the Watchbox Studios. The channel becomes the Urban Gentry, powered by Watchbox. Archie for years had claimed that TGV was buying views, was cheating, was not real. His really his stats weren't real on YouTube, and felt that TGV kind of faked it till he made it, I guess. Fake it till you make it, story. So he felt that was the case, and it was something that he kept going and going for years on. And I would still say, if you asked him tonight, hey, did TGV buy views or whatever, like Archie would be, I would say he would say a categorical yes. Big Tony says, we need Tristan on the Today Show. Yeah, man, like that would be like, I don't think that would ever happen, that TGV would ever come on Archie's show. Or I think Archie would go on TGV's show, because we all know Archie, but yeah, I don't think it would happen the other way around. It would be epic, man. Honestly, Big Tony, Look, I was booted from TGV's Facebook group years ago simply for being a panelist on Archie when Clyde left the first time. This was many years ago. People won't even remember this. Most people remember just the Clyde and Rancher when they left, Clyde and Goldberg when they left, and then JJ and them came in. This was, even way before that. And Clyde originally left from Friday Night Live with Clive. And Suckerhorn emails me saying, "Hey, Tan, like, you know a lot about watches. You're a bit of a troll. Like, why don't you hop on the panel?" And yeah, like even in those days, Big Tony, like it was, I just got booted from that fucking Facebook group literally for being on the panel. So yeah, TGV holds a lot of, I think, hate in his heart for Archie, and I don't think that'll ever happen.
Drama. And the thing I found surprising is that the rodent's supposed to have so many views, so many subscribers. Shouldn't they be kissing his ass and saying, "Oh, you're amazing"? But what sort of the reality is that a lot of the views, how would we put this? They're not organic. Okay? It's like when we go into the Mercedes-Benz dealer and we say, the dealer says it's leather seats. These are Artico. Artico?
I think it means like leatherette, but yeah, fake leather, right? So Archie, and this is interesting because, there's a lot of people in the modern day that, hover around Archie or have hovered around Archie that have that fake it till you make it, kind of syndrome, I would say. And look, like Oisin O'Malley has been one of them that people have questioned whether his stats are real, whether, his actual, whether he has that many, live stream viewers, nobody's really active. It's kind of the same people talking, like, we've analyzed, we've actually done analysis around chats per minute, comparing them to, I think back we did it last year. I think we compared Watch Nicholas, Archie, and Ocean's channel, from a chats per minute perspective of like how fast does the chat go. And actually, Watch Nicholas's channel was very close to the same engagement in the chat as Oisin O'Malley. Obviously Nick has like a 3,000 sub channel or whatever, and like Ocean had probably, I think he may have been less than a 90K sub dragon back then, Blondie. But even though like that was the case, we still questioned his stats. So it's funny because Archie was very heavy at questioning TGV stats. In today's day and age, Archie, I think, is kind of, I think he kind of figures a lot of people cheat anyway. So it's just hard to, he doesn't find it's really that effective to bring up to light.
Yes. Artificial fucking cow. Artico. Yeah. Yeah. Artificial cow is not leather. It's pretends. That's kind of like how the rodents' views are. They're not the full quid. But jingly.
Yes, Saloxy Implants. You're one of the only people besides me who knows this, that yes, Crappy Luxury's name before it was Crappy Luxury was Crappy Watches and Cheap Horrors. I still kind of refer to him that. Hey, we got Captain Zed, another OG in the chat, who says, "Good riddance to the Cunter TGV." Captain Zed, I saw you in the Archie Luxury live stream the other day. Really good to see you, man. I know you were around back then. You've obviously, could type in the chat, your experiences back in that era. But we're trying to bring a bit of a history lesson to the new school here that like the drama. So.
Dangly Jubilee guy, yeah, man. Dingly dangly Jubilee guy, yeah, really cool. Really fucking cool, governor. Really fucking cool. Cool, man. That was fucking cringeworthy YouTube.
At least Archie's given he's given 100%. He's fucking choking himself to, like, he's giving it 100%, guys. And for those that are just joining us here, who are we talking about? And why are we talking about TGV? Everyone's like, TGV was so like 10 years ago. Actually, we do have some breaking news on the, on TGV. Essentially, is he did put out a video yesterday, as I showed earlier on the stream, a decade on YouTube and time to call it quits ? Obviously, probably a clickbait title, but referring to TGV trying to reinvent himself again after he kind of realized probably 5 years too late that the ad model, the Google ads, man cannot get TGV finally realized 10 years later, man cannot live on Google ads alone. So we're analyzing Archie's response to TGV and a bit of a history lesson for everybody so they can get up to speed if Archie actually responds to TGV's quote unquote quitting YouTube tonight on the live stream.
But you tell me what you think, guys. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what Rodent does there. It's good to see him niggling at my success. He had to buy an old date, and he also had to have a go at the world time. He had to get the Khaleesi dial. Well, at least mine may not be a Khaleesi dial, but at least it's my fucking world time. I don't need to give it.
Did TGV ever buy a Cloisonne dial world time? I don't know that. Like anybody in the chat, Neo, Captain Zed, Logan Hall, so anybody who was around back then. Do you guys ever remember like TGV having a world time Cloisonne? I mean, I don't remember that, but yeah, that'd be something I would troll Archie on if it was actually real. Big Tony's asking, is Rodent #1 going to start streaming? Honestly, I don't know. I think he's kind of said stay tuned for his announcement. But yeah, look, like the live streaming model is the moneymaker, right now, at least in the Archie space. And and Mr. Zoso says nope, because when you think of TGV, and for those that haven't seen TGV live stream, he's a very nervous live streamer. He doesn't know a lot about watches, or he doesn't want to come off as not knowing a lot about watches because he's nervous and may make mistakes, right? Like y'all saw me yesterday. I was fucking like on the stream doing 50 things, pulling up shit for Archie, and then Herman hops on. I add him into the stream, and he plays "Hey Jude" by the Beatles, and I say, "Oh, thanks for playing Let It Be." Like my mind was like nowhere into the fucking zone of that, right? Like, and just that happens with YouTubers sometimes. Like you're in the moment, and you're not thinking, right? But TGV is like, it's not that. The guy clearly doesn't know shit about watches, or he's just not really good. Anthony Pellegrini, my good friend. We love to see you, Anthony P. Check out Anthony's channel if y'all like cigars. Good friend of the channel. Met us in New York. Just an overall great guy. Love to see you here, man. And I'm wrapping up this video. I have some more videos here for you guys. Again, Archie is going to be starting in about 45 minutes. I'm hoping, and hopefully the chat, you guys are in the chat, obviously all the OGs, can help me kind of egg Archie into responding to TGV allegedly retiring from YouTube. And again, guys, this is breaking news. This came out yesterday, a decade on YouTube, and is it time to call quits? The end of an era. I got to be really careful playing TGV clips. I'm going to say this to anybody who's going to, if this does actually spiral into anything, be very, very cautious with TGV. He is not afraid to fucking copyright strike Archie. There's no love between those guys. And that's why I'm saying this is such an interesting story, especially for the dungeon, which is obviously drama related. Like this is like the biggest story in the Archie Luxury, like the history of the Archie Luxury channel. The biggest beef, was the beef with TGV, not necessarily the split, with Tim, which was definitely up there. I'm not diminishing that event by any means, but I would say from my perspective, my viewpoint, and again, I'm also biased. I'm an OG. I come from a different era. This to me was pretty big. What's up, Ali? How you doing?
What's up, buddy? I just heard this news as I just tuned in and saw this. It's the first time seeing it.
Yeah. So this actually came out yesterday. TGV. What the kind of the Cliff's notes of the video is, he says that like all this chasing of the hype and all this stuff about, how like watch YouTube and is right now all about like Rolex, and TGV's market, as you know, has been obviously, entry level pieces, lower price pieces, et cetera, et cetera. So, TGV.
Well, to be clear, though, I think he was forced into that. I mean, wouldn't you agree he was forced into that? Because he had a stint at Watchbox, right? And then during that stint, he was covering some higher end Rolex pieces and some really esoteric pieces on the ultra high end for like 7 or 8 videos. And then suddenly he's no longer with Watchbox and he's on the low end again, which I have no criticism of. But I mean, I do think he made an attempt to move upscale. And from the outside in, as a person who actually saw TGV well before Archie, JJ, or anybody, and I like TGV, it seemed like he tried to make the move upscale and he just failed.
Yeah, and I think that move, and again, we're all speculating. Nobody, unless anybody worked for Watchbox or whatever, doesn't really know. Like, again, this is all speculation. From my viewpoint, Ali, I think that, look, TGV was the biggest YouTuber at the time. There was no Nico Leonard. Like, TGV was the biggest channel. Okay, so obviously Watchbox, and we all know, and I said this before, they've been looking to expand their profile, whether online or, in brick and mortar and everything else. Like, they're growing their business, and they have been very successfully growing their business. At the time, they were like, well, look, we're a smaller channel. TGV has this like massive following, right? So why don't we go and hire? Like, I don't like to use the term they acquired the channel, because I don't think they actually like.
They did acquire the channel. It wasn't like an acqui-hire.
Yeah, like I don't know like exactly whether they owned the channel, whether it was, hey, we're gonna hire you to work for us, and your channel will now be called TGV, the Urban Gentry powered by the Watch, because that's what it was called, the Urban Gentry powered by the Watchbox. I don't really know like what it was that they gave him cash for the channel, because he still owns the channel, right? Like it's back to him. So, so yeah, like they take this big YouTuber, Ali, and then they bring him in. And I was highlighting the Jingly Jangly video, Archie's response to that Jingly Jangly first appearance of TGV, because it was such a cringe video, right? Like you could see Tim was like not really feeling the interview. You know, TGV was nervous. He's hunched over. You know, he's making weird comments. Like it was not a great look. And there was a lot of backlash from the community, because a lot of the community, myself included, Neo included, Bear included, you know, all felt that, you know, TGV had faked it till he made it, you know, had fraudulently through paid for views, propped up his channel and then gotten quote unquote bought out. And so there was a lot of backlash in the community around that. And then, like you said, he went on to doing, and actually, Ali, I thought those videos were actually pretty good. It was professionally, you know, choreographed, and
His production quality is great.
yeah, I think it was even better with the Watchbox when they did it. So it was awesome. They did that, and then, you know, like you said, he kind of disappeared. And I think that disappeared. Like I remember, and Neo, if you're still in the chat, I don't know if you remember one time when Brian Govberg and Tim Mossel were doing a live stream. And I love Brian Govberg. I know him, you know, personally, like great guy. So Brian Govberg and Tim are doing their usual, like, you know, whatever weekly show. And the entire chat was literally like on fire about TGV. Like it was just spamming Watchbox's chat, you know, and to the point where Brian Govberg got visibly angry on the show and said, guys, like, you know, like, look, let's stop the trolling. Like, let's focus on watches. Like it was, you could see the irritation. And I think that Watchbox kind of saw that like TGV wasn't really a popular character, as popular as they thought he would be, I guess. I don't know. And then, yeah, maybe sent him back to like what he usually does, where he has popularity and whatnot, right? That's the way I saw it, Ali Reza, but
The
I
thing
mean,
is
again,
that
nobody really knows.
TGV, and I don't know if you ever, back when I had a real Facebook,
I was in the group.
very
Yeah,
active Facebook
I was in,
community.
yeah, I was in the group. I got booted from the group. I told the story earlier on the show where I wasn't a panelist on Archie at all points in time. Clyde was the original panelist, and the first time Clyde left, Sucklehorn reached out to me saying, "Hey, like, you know, you're a funny guy and you know a lot about watches. Why don't you do the panel?" And I took over, and then it became the Gin and Tan show with Archie. And at that time, you know, I was also posting in TGV's Facebook group. Like you know me, I'm agnostic. I go everywhere. And then I got banned for literally being Archie's panelist. I never said anything bad about TGV. Straight banned for no reason.
Yeah, I think, but that's it. Is that he was hugely popular with everybody who would come to him first, but anybody who knew of Archie really disliked him immensely. And what I think is for worse, I don't think this is for better. Normally you'd say for better or worse. For worse, Archie's audience, when they decide they don't like you, there's a core of Archie's audience, or I shouldn't say core actually, a fringe component of Archie's audience that knows how to troll, will follow you everywhere, and will make your life miserable.
Yeah, and by the way, that's always been the case. Like the Archieverse has the troll army. Like Ocean O'Malley said it himself on his show like a month or two ago. He's like, you know, those guys will come after you if you go at Archie, because we're very, you know, like we're very protective over Archie. Just like I mean, Ali, you're very protective over JJ, you know, and we're very protective over people that are our friends that we spend a lot of time with, that we have an investment in the channel, whether it's, you know, time or money, you know, emotional investment, whatever it is, right? These are our friends. We're going to protect our friends. Okay. But yeah, like, you know, you're not wrong. Like TGV was a huge, you know, he was a huge YouTuber. Many people, like Logan Hall also said it. He found Archie after TGV, but like the split when when Watchbox kind of like ended the relationship, I would say, with TGV. You know, after that, honestly, Ali, it kind of felt like he went into obscurity. Like, so what's happening right now is I think he's looking to rebrand or reposition the way he's going to be interacting on YouTube. And we don't know what that means, whether he's going to do live streams. And I don't think he will, because I've seen his live streams, Ali Reza, and they're like, they're terrible, dude. Like he's either not comfortable live streaming, or he just doesn't have enough knowledge to do it like on the fly. We got $5 from Elds, who says TGV needs a script and notes to talk watches. I once saw a video of him with Federico and Christian. That's Christian from Theo and Harris. And TGV looked clueless. And I remember those videos. I think it was in TGV's apartment. I could be wrong. But look, I mean, Ali, you said it yourself. You said,
how do you think Archie should handle this, though? Because personally, as soon as, and I don't know what you said before, I apologize for tuning in late. But personally, every time I see something like this, I think it's an opportunity for other people to graciously welcome the audience of the, former channel.
Yeah, of course. Like, honestly, I talked to him overnight, and you want to know what y'all want to know what he really said to me overnight? He said TGV didn't mention me in his video. Like, Archie's still like,
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
yeah, like Archie still like he still has resentment in his heart, for what TGV did to him. So, like, look, for me, my position, and I think I speak for, I'll speak for Baron Archie on this. Is everybody's welcome. Look, if TGV wanted to hop on the panel, Archie would have him on for sure. I know he would.
What
And
is
then
that?
Archie would just,
I
you
thought I
know,
was talking to Tan when you say it says the narrative. So
oh
I
yeah,
thought I
yeah,
was
yeah.
talking to Tan. The
Yeah.
when you say you'll speak on behalf of Baron Archie, I think it's the other way around. If they speak, you've given them permission.
Yeah, look, it's not that. It's look, we've agreed, like, behind the scenes that we would make decisions together, and one of the major decisions was the inclusiveness of the channel, right? Like, I don't want people to feel that they can't come back to the Archieverse because, Tan is on the panel, and you've had a problem with Tan, and Tan has banned you, and you know what I mean? Like, when you ban people like that, really you ban them because you didn't like them, that doesn't put a good taste in people's mouths, and they rarely want to come back to that. So I kind of told them, I was like, look, guys, no legacy beefs, please. Like, just let it go. None of this is worth it. It's more worth it to have people like Lucha Bedek Mark hop on the panel, or I saw Mathis in the dungeon the other day, or Diego interacting with Mike the Snake. Like, these are new interactions we can have that are going to enhance the channel. And that's the direction I want to go. And I think the other two want as well. That's why I'm saying I'm going to speak for them, because the inclusiveness is part of that. And look, everybody's welcome, and we want to make sure everyone's welcome.
Fair enough. I've watched probably 2.5 to 3 hours of the colony. I haven't jumped on a panel yet.
Yeah, I've actually
Archie tried to catfish me on a panel. I haven't watched too much of the colony because they tend to stream against other channels I watch.
Yeah, like, look, everyone's kind of streaming at, like, even it came up yesterday with Watch Nicholas, right? Like, he didn't know that Marcelo had a stream, and Marcelo was like, "Well, I stream after JJ," and it's just, it causes
But I
altercation.
don't think Watch Nicholas. I mean, again, I had no beef with Watch Nicholas, but I don't think
Mm.
he's part of the informal agreement.
No, there's no agreement, right? That's the point I was making, was like Colony doesn't have an agreement with us either, right? They're an independent channel like Nicholas is, right? So to them, they can stream at any point in time, right? Like,
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
that's why I told Nick I did the
I'm not
lock.
criticizing them. I'm just saying I haven't had much time to watch it because of that.
Yeah, I've been on the panel, like, I think twice. I went on once to show my world time. They were asking about world times. And then, no, 3 times actually. I went on once with Gorilla Time. It was on lunch, and they were talking about like vintage Seikos, and I was wearing a vintage Seiko, so I hopped on and showed it to them. And then I hopped on, I think a few days ago, with like Mark and Gorilla Time, and we just like riffed about like Rolex, like vintage Rolex and stuff. Let me grab the super chat. Arc Your Ski, $5. Stepping out from under the bridge. Always great content. Thanks, man. I appreciate you checking out the channel.
Rage.
Look, he's been great. Arc Your Ski has been an awesome support of the channel. We got
JBI Deeks, $4.99 US. Thank you, JBI Deeks. TGV offered high production quality videos with occasional interesting scripts. After a while, you realize he was a phony. Made you appreciate Archie.
Look, there's some truth to that, though, right, Ali Reza? Like, TGV's production value is very high. It's very good. When he does do scripts, and he prepares, and he's a content creator, right? He's a true YouTube content creator in the sense of the old school videos and having good production and all the stuff that Ocean O'Malley kind of does today, right? Like, I would say he's very good at that. Yeah,
I think he has great production quality. Phony is charlatan, and phony, in my viewpoint, should be reserved for very specific situations. I don't think he was a phony or a charlatan. I think he was a content creator, and he was out of his depth on certain topics. But I would love to see his very dedicated audience spend some time over on JJ's, on Archie's, on the dungeon with Marcelo, with Watch Nicholas, like spread around a little bit. It was a very dedicated audience. And we owe him that much, at least, is that he really did bring a lot of people into the hobby.
yeah, I definitely agree, and it would be great, right? Like, obviously, if the audience was willing to give us a shot, right? Like, this is what I tell everybody, because when the kind of colony split happened, I think the first reaction, people thought we were going to go kind of 2 ways. Either we were going to go attack OC, right, and kind of kick him while he was down, or we would go at the colony, right, and not accept them and just keep trolling and troll and all this other shit, kind of laugh at Tim while he was down. That wasn't the approach we took, though. We took the other approach. We said, look, we can fight forever on all this bullshit, but most of these guys, or all of these guys, basically, weren't really like the quote unquote enemy, you can say, right? And we just came to the conclusion of like, man, these guys used to be in the Archieverse. Like, if we can just make it welcome for them to come back, and they don't have to feel like, hey, I'm kind of going back or whatever. No, it's not about going back. It's about, hey, man, like, there's a bunch of cool people here. Like, let's all hang out. Let's have a good time, right?
And
And
out of my respect for people like you and JJ, I'm doing what I can to. Especially because of my background. I have a very hard time disassociating. Oh, we got JBI Deeks 199. Thank you very much, JBI Deeks. Didn't Bear administer TGV's Facebook page? I'm not aware of that. Are you, Tam?
No, there's actually a video of Bear's response to why he hates TGV, but it was actually on Bear Clooney's channel. So if you're thinking of the Bear we know, it's not the same guy. This is like very refined Bear. He's more calm. He does talk some shit, but he's more calm. But no, I don't think Bear ever adminned TGV's Facebook group. I could be wrong. Bear, if you're in the chat, let me know. Because Bear has a very large Facebook group called Horology Talk, which was, I wouldn't say competitor, but like was pretty big at the time. And Bear got banned from TGV's group, and he kind of responds on like why he was banned. But yeah, there is a video of that I could show you guys.
Logan Hall, what Logan Hall says earlier, you could argue TGV was a phony about his family background history. You're actually right. There was a lot of talk about, there was videos of him trying to become, or allegedly trying to become, a fitness influencer and potentially using, PEDs, performance enhancing drugs. He discovered his heritage and things like that late in life is one way to look at it, or the other way to look at it is the fabricated heritage. The way I look at it, again, I like TGV's channel, but I look at it as the same type of people who go buy a plot of land in Scotland. Those people that buy the 1 foot by 1 inch plot of land in Scotland get a certificate with a title of sir or lady, right? It's very much reminiscent of that. Ozza, TGV was a bloody wanker. I actually won't disagree that in a lot of his videos are like, this guy's a wanker, but there was some other stuff, especially the ones he did with Mark, right, at Long Island Watch.
Yeah, I like those videos actually.
I really like those. And then some of the ones he did, like on James Bond history, watches and Bond, I really like those as well. When he was mixing media, because he was good at that, right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody can deny that, I mean, he wouldn't be as big as he is. Like, even though like Archie will say it's fake and all this other stuff, like, people like you who definitely watched his channel, and like Logan Hall, there are real fans that watched his show and watched it because it was a good show. Like, I'm not gonna, not give credit where credit's due on that sense, right?
Yeah.
But I am also trying to show the new audience, like, the kind of intensity you're seeing with this whole drama with Tim. Like, this intensity was, like, in my opinion, amplified by like 3 or 4 times when you bring up TGV with Archie. Like, to Archie, this was really like, the tipping point around like where he was the main guy on YouTube, and then it kind of, it just, the plot just, got away from him, right?
I think you're right. I mean, I remember that. So when I first came to Archie, one of the first things I found out about Archie was his follow TGV, which was like a year and a half before I ever saw Archie. So I went back and watched some of that stuff, and it was freaking intense.
Oh yeah, like
Right.
there's a bunch of videos here, and I'm trying to, like, for anybody who's actually interested in this and it's on the new crew, just go on Archie Luxury's channel and just search TGV, right? And there's tons of videos, right? And these videos got like good views, like 51,000 views. What does your watch say about you, Squale? Like 36,000 views. How to promote shitter watches. The rodent busted on more videos. So, there's a lot of content around TGV that you see that Archie had like decent views on his channel. This was a big story. I don't know if you remember this story, Ali Reza, the story of the plagiarism. Do you remember that story at all? Like plagiarism?
Yeah, the plagiarism. Yeah, I do.
Over the
Yeah,
job,
I'm gonna just pause this
and,
here. Give me a sec.
Man.
TG. So for those that don't know,
dude, take some multivitamins, get some copper in your diet, man. You've aged, buddy.
hey, I don't know. Yeah, he's definitely aged. Let's play this video from the start. Let's hear a bit of what's going on here with Archie. I don't know why I'm getting like all this zoom on my.
To be honest with you, there, man, we just found some other news out about the rodent. Guess what, guys? Guess what? Rodent has been caught plagiarizing again. This time, it was on his day date story. That's right.
So, as you guys kind of saw people in the chat saying TGV was great scripted, he has been caught, when he reads his script on the show on the videos, I think that Scott, I don't know if it was Scott Has Watches originally that found it, but he was caught plagiarizing, like really reading stuff off of different sources, and and it was exposed, and I guess Archie is now exposing another incident of this. So that's just the context of this video, guys, for everybody that doesn't know.
It seems it's not only the World Time story that he pinched things from. It's basically the guys at scottishwatches.co.uk. They basically they took some of his original. They stuck TGV's.
All right, we got a super chat. JBI Deeks $2, who says drop a link for Hugo, and he's referring to Hugo the dinosaur. I did
Hugo
start
Von Button. I bought my daughter one of those shirts when she was little.
Mm.
She loved it, and then at
Nice.
one point she wanted me to get another one. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Nice. I actually started the show with a couple of TGV quips. I think I said, I'm chuffed to bits to do this show, and then and then I said, okay, ciao. This is okay, ciao. The way he used to end his shows or whatever.
Did you actually check out Reddit Watch Circle Jerk to see what they said about TGV? I'm wondering if they.
Nah, I didn't prep that much. I wanted to give people like the video stuff from Archie, so that if Archie gets egged on by the Neos and me in the chat to actually respond to TGV, people had context of who he was. Because even like I was talking to people offline this morning about it, just after I did the Locks report, and they were like, "Can you tell us a bit about who this TGV guy is?" Right? So.
Okay. All right.
Commentary from a video into Google and popped up huge amounts from other web sites there, blogs and things like that there. It's just an absolute disgrace. The guy is a grub, and he knows no bounds to the end of the plagiarism. The plagiarism. That's.
Oh, I muted myself. I was going to say, Arlie, isn't this kind of like you see Archie going into distracted mode while he's trying to do like a response video or a troll video?
He's got some form of ADHD. Like he's distracted. Unless he's raging, unless he's like yelling, right? He's distracted all the time.
Yeah, this is like
honest to God, looking at this was only a few years ago, man. I'm like, we got to get him a multivitamin, some copper, like a daily walk. Like he's aged.
Yeah, we got to get his T levels up, and then he'll be the old Archie again.
Oh, there we go, Narc.
We got Neo. Neo says, I have the super chat typed in right. I knew that Neo would be probably ready to go to get Archie. Wasn't Hugo meant to be a version of Archie? I don't know. I don't really know too much of Hugo's origin story. But yeah, let's continue here with Archie talking about plagiarism with TGV.
That's what it is. It's just plagiarism, and I got to be honest with you, it's very discerning. I had enough. I've had enough. He's just copying, stealing bits and pieces all over the joint, and I think it's pretty damn despicable. He stole stuff from deployant.com. They did a story on the history of the World Time. They spent hours doing it, and he just comes along and steals bits and pieces. It's just sickening. Just really, really.
And look, I can understand Archie's frustration here, Ali Reza, because Archie considers himself a creator of content, somebody who, was bringing some of his own knowledge. Now, guys, like, let's take this with a grain of salt. Archie was also called out for pinching much earlier than this. He would pinch photos off Rolex forums and put them in his videos. And oh my God, if you look up Archie 42 on Rolex forums, that was his old name. You're gonna be able to find those threads about people like mad at Archie for plagiarizing photos into his videos. So look, Archie's not a saint, but we're never gonna let the truth get in the way of a good story, is what I'm gonna say, Ali Reza.
Sickening what the grub has done there. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. There's all sorts of shit that's, I mean, I don't really look at the rodents videos that much. I don't really I don't really think that's, that's not exactly what I've done there, but it seems that he's also stolen a lot of stuff. Not only does he pinch Instagram, well, I mean, look, I'm not so tough about that, but on the day-to-day,
Yeah, you're not so tough about that because you used to fucking do it yourself. Like that's exactly. Archie knew that I'd probably or somebody would catch him on that and call him out. So yeah, but Archie did definitely do that, guys. No joke. And I actually have another video after this, Ali Reza, about Archie declaring peace with TGV, which he's wearing like a tuxedo or something. So I'm gonna see how different that is to this one.
large chunks were just pinched. It's not his. I thought he's doing some research. I thought he was doing some research, but no, it's not research. He's just pinching bits all over the place. And
that's a really interesting point, Jean-Claude Biver, because the way I see it is, for everybody, like if you're new to watch YouTube, if you're just here from like the COVID era up until now, you would know Federico as like a big YouTuber, a well enough known YouTuber. Like Fed was in the Archieverse, guys. He was a punter. TGV was in the Archieverse. He was a punter. He's just like you and me, like these guys. So, I kind of have a different perspective of them, just like I have a different perspective of Tim. Tim Wright to me was always just a sidekick. I can never see him as more than that. I was on a panel many years before he was a punter. He bought stuff off of my influence. He's publicly said it.
So,
after watching my shows, like
right.
I always kind of looked at him as that side. Sorry, Ali Reza, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I interrupt you a lot. I got to work on that. That's a bad character trait. But I don't consider that the same equivalent because everybody who's appeared on Archie Show for a prolonged period of time could be looked at as sidekick. But then there are ones that have decided, and right now, unfortunately, there's just one who's developed into his own without burning any bridges, and that's JJ. Right? I think it's the ones who don't tip the hat and come back to the fountain to participate that, to a certain extent, earn the vitriol they get. Right? I don't think that Tim, my personal opinion is that Tim didn't develop anywhere. He didn't actually develop into his own person or personality. Right? Which is one of the biases I have against like the colony folks, which I'm trying to get past, is treat the colony folks. And it's interesting because even the colony, there are people within the colony that I will never forgive. But I like Luchvedev Mark. I liked Gorilla Tom. I like they had this guy, something Johnson EDC.
Yep.
Right. America. I liked America, and I like what they have to say. So it will take me some time to get past the bias of some of the other, the bias I have against some of the other panelists. But I don't look at Tim as even having been a sidekick. He never grew into anybody. Like a sidekick, like Robin to Batman, grows into somebody at some point.
I agree. But it's like think
It's
of
like
it
an
like
accessory, dude. He was like a motorcycle. He wasn't like a real person.
my best analogy is, when you do a spin-off show, the spin-off never, like most often does not, become the popular show, right? Like
Yeah,
many
only
spin-offs,
Frasier, and that's it.
yeah, like spin-offs just go away and that's it. I consider Tim a spin-off, right? Is what I would consider. However, like TGV, also a spin-off, super successful. And
He at
Nico,
least had his own personality. He just was rude about it. He should have been deferential about it.
and look, there's a lot of other YouTubers that were, big Archie fans that you guys don't know, like Bark and Jack. I mean, Jin and I met Bark and Jack. Like Jin met him in person. I have his number. Like, I mean, we talk offline. Like, I mean, we met Bark and Jack through here, just like how JJ met, Nico through here. And in a later day, right? Like we met Bark and Jack through here. He was a big fan of the channel. As you guys obviously saw, Federico, Christian from Theo and Harris was a big fan of the channel. Like all punters, those guys didn't spin off. I would say they were just, fans of the chat. They were just punters in the chat kind of a thing. But like guys, like all these big people that you see around, they all started here. This is why I like the term the Archieverse, because I don't use the term the community, because it is the Archieverse. Many of like watch YouTube came from Archie, and that's why people pay homage to him, even though people don't consider him. Many people don't consider him relevant anymore. But still, the people that are relevant, they pay homage to the OG, the one that actually started this all, right? Let's maybe move away from low T levels Archie, and let's go into some high tea levels. I know he's gonna yeah, like look, he's gonna be starting in like 15 minutes. I know Neil and I are just gonna get him fired up. Want to give a shout out to Team JJ, the JJ verse. We love the JJ verse. Look, I'm cool with that, and honestly, like I'm really excited this year, Ali Reza, to like host everybody with JJ. You know, obviously from my side on the Archie verse, JJ on the JJ verse, and obviously everybody who's wanting to be there and not.
I'm tipping my hat. I just don't like to admit it. I paid for Lux. I show up on Archie's panels, or at least the dungeon. Sometimes I super chat here and there. I'm tipping my hat. I just don't like to talk about it.
There you go. All right, let's see if Archie has higher T levels in this one. This one's called World War III is Over. TGV and Archie Luxury declare peace.
G'day! I'm Archie Luxury, and welcome to the program. And it's been going on for a while. There's rumors in the industry that Archie and Tristano from the Urban Gentry channel have been fighting.
Oh, hold on. Pause this.
Whilst
What's with the accent? Did he just watch like Crocodile Dundee?
Well, this was Archie, and this was the method acting, right? When I talk about the three pillars, right? You got watch talk, you've got comedy, right? Comedy's a big one, and drama. So this is the drama part with the comedy. So think of like Surdy Danny doing like an act, right? This was Archie doing quote unquote method acting while engaging in the drama. This is why I always say Archie was one of the greatest trolls of all time. In my opinion.
He sounds like the guy at the beginning of the first Crocodile Dundee movie that's selling Crocodile Dundee to the reporter.
that is actually really, really good.
there was, whilst there may have been some hostilities, it's really not the case. And I tell you the honest truth there. I picked up the phone and rung Tristano and said, I want this nasty war between us to end. And accusations were made from both sides. And I said, look, best thing we can do is work together. Let's not be a pack of cunts to each other. And
you know how like sincere he's being, eh? Like Alireza, how sincere is he actually being here with his BS?
This is
right?
fantastic. This might be the first time I genuinely liked Archie for more than 15 seconds at a time.
All right, we're making moves here, guys. New things every day.
And with that said, I'd really like to put out the olive branch to the TGV Urban Gentry channel, and I want to say the war is over, fuckers. That's right, the war is over, and we've got different markets. I've gone for the high end. He's gone for the lower end, and some of the higher end, and different markets, different audiences. So I said to him, I reckon it's really good. What he's done is he's come along, seen how I've been a bit lazy, and he's produced some really good vids, some really cool opening scenes in some of these vids. I gotta hand it to the young boy.
Oh my god!
So I just.
What do you think, Ali? How's it?
This is fantastic. This is some of the best stuff I've ever seen from Archie, like by a mile.
Yeah, and the way I found this too, Alireza, is when I searched TGV in the Archie Luxury channel, this was this video had like 35,000 views. Like it was a very it was a very like popular video at the time. And hopefully we'll have some time to play a video of Archie saying, "What does your squale say about you?" I think that one got like 50,000 views. So
I remember that video.
Yeah, let's go through this one and then we'll see that one.
Yeah, JT, hold on.
I want to make this video and say,
sorry,
JT, if Archie does his blood work and his T levels are really low, if that's what we really need, I'm going to be in the woods shooting with a dart gun because this shit's funny.
Yeah, man, it's that was the Narc's idea, right? The Narc and was saying, "Hey, like you need to get your T levels up," and everybody else, I think, latched onto it.
Say that me and TGV, whilst we may not see eye to eye on many issues, we can still be friends and be nice and civil to each other. So I'd like to encourage you, fans, viewers, haters out there, just to be nice. And hey, me and TGV, I want to try and fix this up. I don't want to continually fight and bitch and whinge. I'd like to fix it up. And he doesn't like my my Thai bar girl videos, and I don't like some of the shitter videos. But Why can't we be friends? Let's be honest there.
I mean, Archie is being honest, right? I'd rather you'd expect that. TGV doesn't like my Thai bar girl
Yeah,
videos. Oh my
that's
god.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And to Carlino, it's not that my voice improved. If I have my daughter studying in the next room, I just don't talk as loud. Right now, I got the house to myself for a little while, so I'm just talking my normal volume.
There you go. Yeah, I always knew that. Like, you say that all the time. Like, it's
No, people hate
not.
my voice, dude. It's weird.
I mean,
like,
but it's not uncommonly known that you keep your voice down. You always said it. Like, my daughter's in the other room. Like, you say it all the time. So yeah, maybe you didn't know.
listen, look at Archie's face, man.
Having two successful watch channels.
Yeah, he took a shower. He put on. I mean, I hope he has pants on. But
He never has pants on.
he never has pants.
Don't push it. Don't push it.
Maybe he's got a clip-on bow tie. Who knows, right? Let's.
That is a clip-on.
It's a great thing. It is a really cool thing. And I got 30 million views. 30 million views. Okay, the subscriptions aren't so great compared to his. But, if I didn't fucking swear in every video and I didn't, you can beat that out, Tristano, by the way, when you're putting it up on your channel. But I didn't.
Which, by the way, he probably never did.
That's fantastic.
And honestly, Alireza, like, for a guy like Curly, who, obviously content it comes on the fly. Sometimes there's no content, sometimes there is. Like the TGV stuff was like, man, like the years of content we have on this, and just Archie's response videos, and and even me, I was talking to him last night about it, and when he said, well, he didn't mention me in his video, I'm like, oh my god, the old Archie's in there somewhere. This guy that we're seeing on the screen is in there somewhere. And Neo, you need to help me get it out of him today, because I really think he could probably do it if his T levels are not.
We should have Curly analyze this video. It's 3.5 minutes. Curly would turn it into an 11-hour stream.
Yeah, I try to power through them because I want to show one more before we go to Archie.
Swear, and it'd be boring if we were all the same. So I just want to make this video. Me and Tristano, we're friends. We're okay. We got differences, and it's great. I want to harness the passion that you fuckers out there have. The passion for collecting watches. Because that's what we really love. It's collecting watches, building the hobby, and enjoying our times. I'm Archie Luxury. The olive branch is extended. And Tristano, ring me anytime, fucker. See you later. Nice one, Archie. Good to see. The war is over.
Oh, nice one, Arch. Great vid. Look, this is, Alireza, I would say that the 500 you paid to keep the piece, this is the Archie we want. Cordial. You can tell he doesn't really want to say this.
Yeah, this level of snark is safe Archie.
Yeah.
The level which he showed against, like, Lord, young Brando was not okay.
No,
this is okay.
Yeah, that's Archie, like, when he's just completely off the rails, right? Like, there's differences, the different levels of Archie. This one is like, because like you said, you haven't seen this guy, and he can do this for sure. So, hopefully, either I'll send him this or somebody sends him this to kind of look at and analyze, because it is, I'm going to be there in London, by the way, Alireza. So, obviously the way the interaction of the cast is going to be, I would say, I'm going to be watching it pretty closely, whether on video or live, just to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. Like, I know what you want, like, not fucking Royal Rumble, right? And especially
I don't want people's families and our hosts.
Exactly. The wives, like, so like, look, if you guys are skylarking at the bar, it's one thing, right? And the wives aren't around. It's another thing. It's in the house, and people are getting emotional. Like, I agree with you. Like, I think that's, I'm going to push the same agenda with them in that sense, because I don't think it's going to be a good look for us if it gets out of hand. So, all right, we watched this video. Archie's going to start in a few minutes here, guys. I want to just play this other video. I don't know if we're going to be able to go through it. It's called What Does Your Watch Say About You? Squale. When I searched TGV, this came up. I'm going to see if I can get past this intro. Let's get to Archie.
Paul Pluta, the method actor who plays Archibald Chesterfield III. Today we're looking at What Does Your Wristwatch Say About You? And today we're looking at the brand Squale. Squale. And this is very, very interesting to make this review here. I've received a request to make a review on Squale. And the answer is this is an interesting thing. What does Squale say about its owner? And very, very interesting. Squale actually says about its owner that they can't afford a decent watch. They can't afford a decent watch.
No, Ali, we know that's not true. There are many, many owners of Squales that have very nice watches.
You're only saying that because I have two of them.
No,
And
I
my
have a
daughter
lot.
has two.
I have a lot of friends that are like that. And you know, like at the time when I used to watch these videos, like I kind of thought that was the sentiment. You know what I mean? So I think I called someone's watch a shitter once, and it wasn't really received very well, I would say. So no,
Yeah.
I know a
My
lot.
daughter has two Squales, and I let her watch this video actually like 3 years ago.
Oh man, let's see what Archie says here.
And what Squale says about the owner is they, if they had money, they'd like to buy some cool shit to be cool and trendy, but they just can't cut the mustard. That's what it says. It says all the wrong things. I mean, there are times when sometimes it's better to wear no watch at all. And when it comes to Squale, that's a brand that really sucks. It really sucks. It says that you have absolutely no class.
Ooh, absolutely no class. Damn. Some really, really harsh words there, Ali.
Dude, this was so funny. And my daughter, she was 13 or 12 when she saw this video, and she had a laugh at it.
I'm going to give it a few minutes here because I'm going to be watching just to see if Archie's on. So if I don't pause it, that's what I'm doing. Let's rock and roll.
It says you know nothing about wristwatches. It says you are a sheeple. You're a sheeple. You follow the crowd and you have no idea on nothing. At least with Tudor owners, at least with Tudor owners, they've gone to a brand which has some heritage and existence, but Squale,
Hey, I don't know too much about this guy, Trax NYC. I keep hearing about this guy, but I was just looking at the live streams that are on right now. And we got 123 viewers watching the Horology Dungeon, and Trax only has 58. So shout out, shout out to the homies. I'm just gonna highlight this, make this a bit bigger, so you know the people aren't gonna call me out for lying. 58 watching on Trax NYC, and you know shout out to my boy the Whiskey Reaper. But we got 123 punters in the loyal Archieverse here watching here with us. So let's get back to classic Archie and let's have a great time.
oh my God. And, I invented the term shitter. Shitter. And all I can say is Squale itself there is a shitter brand. There are times in life when you've just got to get a MasterCard without telling your main squeeze.
All right, we got an OG in the chat, lavishly fat. Nice to see you, man. Shalom. $2 Canadian. But Patel, Squale made places for blank paying for blanc pain. Is that true, Ali Rez? I have heard that, but I wasn't sure.
True.
All right, confirmed, baby. How's it going, Blondie? And hi to Dirk, Mookie, NATO, and many others in the chat that have joined us. I'm just running this for those that haven't caught up, I know Archie's going to start in a few minutes here, guys. TGV did release a video yesterday, kind of questioning whether he should be quitting YouTube. Ended up being that he's looking to kind of pivot. We don't know what that looks like, but we're looking to get Archie's response. As you guys can see here, Archie has a lot of history with TGV. I'm going to try to play this video. I'm going to play it all the way into Archie because I think he's going to start in a few minutes.
I'm sorry, I have a brilliant idea.
Sure, what's up?
Archie should offer TGV the morning slot to host.
Oh man, I'm gonna definitely do that. Hey Mookie, man, we're beating tracks. We're beating tracks. We need to get into a boxing match. Like Nico can come box Archie or something. Let's get us some views here, guys. Let's get us some views.
And buy a bloody decent watch. And I'm not telling you to go and mortgage your left testicle or anything like that. Get an Amiga Speedmaster, man on the moon, man on the moon. Get an Amiga Speedmaster, man on the moon. But buying a Squale, it just says you know nothing about watches. Does it pass the girlfriend test? Let me give you this, okay? If you are so convinced that your watch is wonderful, you've got to do the girlfriend test. And the girlfriend test is this. You basically have said to her, darling, we're going to save money for our vacation. Okay. And then you say, actually, honey, I've had a bit of a rethink. I want to buy a Rolex. Now, if you asked her, honey, I want to buy a Squale, the first question is how much? And when you mention the price, and she would probably let you do it. This is the thing. The Squale is so suckful.
Can someone give Archie the girlfriend test tonight, please? And just see which watches pass the girlfriend test around, whether she would let you buy it or not. He's basically saying, if you told your girlfriend, hey, like I'm looking to buy a watch, and she says, well, how much is it? And you say it's whatever. Like, and Squales aren't that cheap, by the way. But let's say it's $1,000, right? He's saying that the girlfriend would let him, and that doesn't pass the test. So someone should give Archie the girlfriend test tonight.
Doesn't hurt. I mean, you can have a modest lower tier watch collection with an Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon. You can have a basic Rolex Sports like an Explorer 1. And then you can ask her, honey, I want to add this watch. It's called a Squale. It's under $1,000. It's not going to cause a marital dispute. She's not going to throw furniture at you. It is, oh, okay. We'll take that out of your allowance. Oh my God. Squale.
So Archie Luxury is live, guys. We're going to be sending you guys over. If you have autoplay on, it'll automatically send you there. If not, click the link to Archie Luxury. I'm going to thank the super chatters. Obviously, first, I'm going to thank Ali Reza for joining me on the panel. I was alone. I was doing it solo, but it was always great to have you, here by my side and doing the streams with me, man.
No problem, buddy.
All right, super chatters. Thank you so much. We got No Biggie Sal, our good friend Big Sal. We got Neo. I'm relying on you tonight, Neo. I'm gonna hop off the stream, grab something to eat, and I'm gonna come back. But we need to get Archie to give us that response to TGV. We got Elds, $5. Arc Your Ski, nice to see you. JBI DX, always a pleasure. JBI DX again. JBI DX again. And then we got an OG Lavishly Fat with the final $2, guys. Have yourselves a great evening. Let's enjoy the Archie Luxury live stream. I'm going to send you guys straight away. No ending clip. See ya.